Look at somebody and say, God will do it anyway.
Yes, He will. Yes, He will.
Tell the person on the other side, God will do it anyway.
Yes, He will.
So I only have a few minutes because I have used up so much of my time today in prayer. But I want to leave a passage with you if you walk with me today. From a couple of places, the book of Esther in the 4th chapter, and then the Isaiah, first Isaiah as we call it, 54. A few verses, just a few verses. Book of Esther in the 4th chapter, and it is the 4th chapter of Esther, 14th verse A. 14a. And in this particular passage, this is a conversation between Esther and Mordecai, her uncle. And for those of you that don't know this story, there was a proclamation that went out from an enemy of the Jews, of the children of Israel, that in many ways tricked the king into signing their death warrant. And Esther, who was one of the king's wives or concubines, we're not sure, but she was definitely a consort to the king, young Jewish woman, Hadassah, Esther. And her uncle that raised her, Mordecai, was trying to get message to her that, God bless you, I have lots of things, that the children of Israel, there we are, the children of Israel were in danger of death.
Yes, yes, yes.
And Esther sent word back in a capsule. Essentially, she said, no one can go to the king without being sent for. And if I go to the king without him sending for me, there is but one penalty, death. The only way that you cannot be killed if you go to the king unsolicited, essentially, is if he holds out the golden scepter that gives you pardon. And she said, this is the caveat, and the king hasn't sent for me for 30 days. Essentially, he got lots of wives. And I'm on rotation. Anybody understand? And it hasn't been my time here lately. Could be I'm not finding favor with him. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just reading between the lines. And if I bogart in there and I'm not finding favor, then I give him a reason to cut me off. Anybody understand? And go with the people who are in more frequent rotation than I am. That's the underline, the understory. So essentially I'm putting myself in danger. Then her uncle said back to her, essentially, what makes you think that if the Jews are killed, that you won't be killed too? Remember who you are. Tell your neighbor, remember who you are. Don't forget, because of where you are, who you are. Anybody understand what I'm saying? Don't forget. Because of where you are, don't forget who you are and how you got there. Very important. And then he said, and if you persist in staying silent, this is Esther 4:14a. If you persist in staying silent at a time like this, help and deliverance will come for the Jews from somewhere else. That's the only piece I want to hold on to for a minute. If you persist in staying silent at a time like this, help and deliverance will come for the Jews from someplace else. Let me say it another way. If you don't do your part, God will do what God wants to do anyway. Tell somebody God will do it anyway. Now, anyway. I said anyway. Then in Isaiah 54, and I want to read this passage to you because it just blessed my socks off. Isaiah 54, and it begins at the 11th verse. Isaiah's word to Israel in bondage. Look at somebody, say, in bondage. Now, amazing to get a word from the Lord while you're in trouble. That's an amazing thing when God speaks to you while you're in a mess.
Yeah. While you're in a mess.
Yes, Lord.
So here is the word of the Lord to Israel. Afflicted cities,
Yeah.
lashed by storms and not comforted. I will rebuild you with stones of turquoise, your foundations with lapis lazuli. I will make your battlements of rubies and your gates of sparkling jewels. And your children will be taught of the Lord, and great will be their peace. In righteousness you will be established. Tyranny will be far from you. You will have nothing to fear. Terror will be far removed, and it will not come near you. And if anyone does attack you, be clear, it is not my doing. And whoever attacks you will surrender to you. See, this is God speaking. It is I who created the blacksmith, and who fans the coals into flame and forges a weapon on it fit for work. It is I who have created the destroyer to wreak havoc. But no weapon forged against you will prevail. And you will refute every tongue that accuses you. For this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. And this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. Can I read it?
Yeah.
In the Message Bible, just a little bit. Read it. It really gets good. Hold on just a minute. Afflicted, storm-battered, and unpitied ones, I'm about to rebuild you with stones of turquoise, and I'm about to lay your foundations with sapphires. I'm about to construct your towers with rubies. Take it personal today, beloved. I'm about to set your gates with jewels and your walls with precious stones. And all of your children will have God as their personal teacher. God will mentor your baby. Your children will be taught by the Lord. You will be built solidly, and you will have firm foundations, far from trouble and nothing else to fear. Not even terror, it won't even come close. And if anybody attacks you, don't suppose for a moment that I sent them. And if they do attack, nothing will come of it. I created the blacksmith that fires up his forge to make weapons designed to kill you. I want you to hear what I'm saying. I created the blacksmith that fires up his forge to make weapons designed to kill you. I created the destroyer, but no weapon that can hurt you has ever been forged. Not only can they not hurt you, he can't even make them. I want you to hear what I'm saying. And any accuser who takes you to court will be dismissed as a liar. This is what God's people can expect. Because God will see to it that everything will work out for your good.